Hi everybody. So I am back and we are going to do our mini lesson for day 2. Your day 2 is you're thinking about your character and how the main character of your book, how did they change from the beginning to the end. And when we do this, we need to think about what caused that change in the story. So you're going to do that with Peter's chair. Go back and rewatch the video for the story if you need a reminder of what happened in the story or if you didn't do that for day 1. And I'm going to talk through a bike like Sergio's, and I'm going to talk about how Ruben changed from the beginning to the end of the story. And so when I'm thinking about how a character changes, I'm going to think about how they were at the beginning and what kind of makes them think that and what makes me think that this is the way our character is. Something that happened that changed them, and then how they are at the end and why I know that's how they are. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to look back through my book, and I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to think about who Ruben is throughout my book. So I'm going to think, okay, so I remembered that Ruben, he really wanted that bike, and then, remember when he made that wrong choice, and he decided to keep that money instead of chasing after the lady in the blue coat. And then we get to learn a little bit about his home life. He's really excited. He's dreaming about that bike. He's going to get it. But oh no, he thought he lost the money, so he's retracing all his steps. He's really, really sad. But then he finds the money, and he kind of realizes how important money is. When he's at the store, he runs back into the woman with the blue coat, the woman whose money he does have, and he decides to make the right choice and to give that money back, even though that means he's not going to get his bike anymore. And in the end, he is proud of his decision, and his parents are proud of him. So that was a super quick walkthrough of our book. And so now I'm going to think about Ruben. And there's a couple ways that I can think about how Ruben has changed. I can think about, if I were to describe what kind of person Ruben is, I can think about, okay, how does he act at the beginning of the story? Well, at the beginning of the story, he's thinking about what he wants. He wants that bike. And then he makes that choice to keep the money. So because Ruben is super focused on wanting that bike and he decides to keep the money when he knows that's wrong, I'm going to say that in the beginning, Ruben is selfish because he's only thinking of himself. I know this because that's really important. I got to explain how I know he's selfish. It's not enough just to say, hey, I think he's selfish. I know this because he kept the money that he found instead of giving it back to the woman in the blue coat so he could buy his bike. Then I'm going to think about, okay, so he's selfish at the beginning. I know how he's feeling. How does he feel? What changes in him? Well, remember, he thinks he loses the money. And so when Ruben loses some money, he realizes how that woman must feel knowing that she lost $100. Can you imagine how you would feel if you lost $100? I know Miss Coker would be freaking out. I would be so upset. That's a lot of money. And so now Ruben, we start to see a change. He goes from being really excited to he's kind of sad now. And at the end, he finds that money and he decides, hey, I have to do the right thing and I have to give this woman her money back. So in the beginning, Ruben is selfish. He's only thinking about himself and what he wants because he keeps that money so he can buy himself a bike. But at the end, Ruben has become more caring. We can say that he is selfless. Now, selfless means that you are not doing something for yourself. You're doing it for somebody else. And so Ruben is giving that money, and he doesn't get anything from that. It's not like the woman said, hey, thank you for my money. Actually, you keep it. She said, oh my goodness, thank you so much for returning this to me. And so he is doing something for somebody else. So he has become more caring and selfless, and he realized that he needs to give the money back because of how important and how much that money means to that woman. So if I were to think about how my main character changed, Reuben went from being selfish because he decided to keep the money so that he could buy himself the bike, and he became selfless and more caring by doing the right thing and giving the money back. That's one way I can think about how my character changed. That's kind of my character traits. And so if I'm thinking about that, I might also want to think about his motives and why he does things, or his wants, or how he acts. And so I could also say, hey, at the beginning of the story, Reuben went from doing the wrong thing because he kept that money. Reuben went from doing the wrong thing, and when he realized that it hurts to lose money, he decided to do the right thing and to give that money back to the woman in the blue coat. So that's another way that Reuben changed. He kind of learned a lesson, and that lesson caused him to change his behaviors. And so I want you to think about, how does Peter change in Peter's chair? What causes him to change? How does he feel at the beginning of the story? Go back and listen to it or reread it in your packet. How does Peter feel at the beginning of the story? And what causes him to change? And how does he feel at the end of the story? How does he act at the beginning, and how does he act at the end? And go ahead and do that for day 2. And then I am going to take my weekend to get some things straight. So I will not be doing day 3 and 4 until Monday and Tuesday. So you guys enjoy your weekend. Go have fun. And I will see you guys on Monday for another lesson. All right, bye, friends.